Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Cultist back again with another logic video, and today we're going to discuss the subject of how to create a first-person crouch. And I'm gonna get into the business, that is, of explaining it. I've got some pre-made logic here for a first-person camera rig, which I should explain before we get started. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and hide these. These are basically the puppet's collision zones, I guess you'd call it. I stuck them out in front of the puppet so that the camera collides with the wall. That way you don't, go through the wall and see the other side of it. But I've got this big tall one which represents your normal camera stance. It's set to collidable. And then I've got this short blue one which is set to non-collidable. And when you go into crouch mode, it's going to be turned on to collidable with a keyframe, which I put inside this chip called crouch. It also puts the puppet in a pose, and it doesn't really matter what, pose you put him in. You're not really going to see him except as a shadow, maybe, if there's light, casting on the ground or whatever. The actual rig itself is unaffected by the pose the puppet makes. The rig is just a pair of disembodied arms separate from the puppet. With a teleporter on it called aim block. It could be called anything though. Now I'm going to go ahead and hide these as I mentioned before. Oops, scope into the right scope. I have them inside the this blue area. I don't know what they call that, but whatever it is, that's where I have them. I've also got this little block with a chip on it called place, and it's got a tag on it called aim place, which is the same name as our teleporter. The teleporter will follow this tag. And inside our aim chip, where I do all the first-person gadgetry, I angle the tag up by opening its tweak menu with L1 and square. I just angle the tag up. I also angle the puppet's pose up without moving the lower area, because we're going to need to put the pelvis down on the ground later when he's crouching. So I just move from the waist up, and this only affects the puppet's shadow, so it won't affect the rig, as I said before. Since the rig follows the tag, it will automatically angle itself in the direction of the tag. And for down, I aim the tag down at the floor. And in the middle here, I have keyframe, which, by the way, all of these keyframes are set to linear. And if you want to copy this exact system, including the option to invert Y controls and remap thresholds, the first-person puppet is a good place to get it. I just grab it right out of there because I don't think it's really necessary to build this particular, function. And they have everything perfectly set up as far as the signal manipulators are concerned. And I don't really see any reason in reproducing those exactly just to say you built your own thing. So just grab this little chip out of the first-person thing and slap it on your puppet, and it's probably the best way to do first-person aiming. Most thermo-efficient way. But yes, linear blend, pitch up, pitch down, and this would be pitch medium, although I left it labeled pitch down. Medium as in center or, basic stance. But it affects this tag on the block. Now in crouch mode, we're going to want to move the block down, so in our crouch, all we do is grab the block and move it down. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to need to change the puppet's collision in order to make him fit through tighter spaces. I've made this non-collidable, and I've made the blue one collidable. And I made them different colors so I could tell the difference, between which one is which. I've also gone to the puppet settings, and I've reduced the vertical position and the height so that this little collision sphere that the puppet has naturally built into it is much smaller also. Because normally, without the crouch, it's a lot taller. About this tall. But that's pretty much everything that the keyframe has to do for us. Nothing else has to be changed. I would say to make sure that when you put this block in here, it is inside of the puppet's group and not outside of it. Otherwise, it'll just stay in place and won't follow him properly. Also, I've made the crouch button circle, hooked up to this selector, so I can just press circle to toggle it on and off from the controller sensor here. Just very simple. L1 and square to open it up, and X to connect the wire. I think everything should be ready. The yawn movement is automatically controlled, and that just moves the puppet left and right. But it's just pre-packaged in here, so you don't need to worry about that. Anyway, that's our crouch. I guess if you wanted to make it less abrupt, say you wanted a slower crouch, you could add a little slow power up time and a little slow power down time. That's a bit more natural. As you can see though, here's a tight space, can't fit. Then we crouch, and now we can fit in it. And that's a first-person crouch for you. Now, as far as the rest of this stuff is concerned, that's a whole nother game, whole nother set of instructions to explain how first-person cameras and all that other stuff works. I think we have covered first-person cameras already. Although, probably not to this extent with all these extra doodads and bells and whistles, but nevertheless. Seek out that video if you want a more basic understanding of how to create the first-person camera.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was an insightful video or otherwise enjoyable. If it was, then go ahead and subscribe if you can, and hit the bell to keep up with our videos. Also, subscribed or not, give a like. If you have any questions or statements, leave a comment. We try to answer all comments. If you like what we do here and want to help out, consider becoming a channel member. Alternatively, you can check out the link in the description to support us through Patreon. Until next time, take it easy. That's all for now.